the venue, facilities, tools, supplies, and equipment needed to this qualification met the standard set in the training regulations prior to the start of this competency assessment. Good morning, trainees. Welcome to the Skilltech Institute, a training and assessment center accredited by TESDA. I am Bernadette Cruz, your competency assessor for food processing and C2. Before anything else, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our TESDA representative, Ms. Danica Rigunan, and our assessment center manager, Ms. Wilma Tiwang. Do not worry about their presence. They are just here to observe and check if the conduct of assessment is in accordance with prescribed competency assessment methodology and procedures. Before we proceed to our orientation, I will just get the assessment package from our TESDA representative. Thank you. This assessment package contains all the materials needed for this assessment. For the checking of the attendance, once your name is called, please come in front and present to me your admission slip and any valid ID, then please affix your signature right beside your name on the attendance sheet. Candidate number 1, may I have your admission slip and valid ID? Please sign the attendance sheet. You will be candidate number 1. Here's your candidate tag. Candidate number 2, may I have your admission slip and valid ID? Please sign the attendance sheet. You will be candidate number 2. Please wear your candidate number tag because I will use it to identify you throughout the assessment program. I have here with me your accomplished application form and self-assessment guide. This is an indication that you know and you can perform all the units of competencies enumerated in food processing and C2, and that no one is forcing you to take this assessment. The purpose of this assessment is to measure your knowledge, skills, and attitude, as well as to determine the level of your competency. If you meet the minimum requirement for this assessment, you will be receiving a national certificate of food processing and C2 for you to use in job application or job promotion, whether here in the local or in abroad. This qualification is composed of 3 main competencies: the basic, common, and core. The core competencies are processed food by salting, curing, and smoking, processed food by fermentation and pickling, processed food by sugar concentration, processed food by drying and dehydration, processed food by thermal application. The tasks to be performed are processing food by salting, curing, and smoking, processing food by fermentation and pickling, processing food by sugar concentration, processing food by drying and dehydration, processing food by thermal application. You will be given 7 hours to perform all the competencies of this qualification. My role as an assessor is to conduct the assessment, collect evidence of your performance, and make an assessment decision based on the evidences gathered. Your performances as evidence will be judged according to the 4 dimensions of competency, which are task skills, task management skills, contingency management skills, and job role environment, and also by using the 6 rules of evidences, which are authenticity, consistency, currency, recency, sufficiency, and validity. The assessment methods that we will use for this assessment are the demonstration, oral questioning. The demonstration, all you have to do is to perform all the units of competency enumerated for food processing and C2 to check your underpinning skills. In the oral questioning, you will be given 3 questions for you to answer truthfully to check your attitude and underpinning knowledge. If you have any difficulties in understanding the instructions given with regards to the process of this assessment, just let me know so I can clarify and explain the instructions given to you in Filipino language. Candidates, I would like to inform you that during the assessment, please refrain from using your cell phones or gadgets because when the assessment starts, you will no longer allowed to use cellular phones. And cheating and coaching are strictly prohibited. Once you are caught, it will be grounds for disqualification. Please observe safety. The first aid kit is located near the door. In case of fire, there are fire extinguishers in front at the back of the room. Fire and emergency exits and properly labeled. In case you encountered any untoward incident, please call my attention so we can give appropriate first aid. After performing all the activities needed for this assessment, I will give my feedback to you individually. So if you have any corrections, questions, or doubts about the results of your assessment, you have the right to appeal. Just submit a letter to the Tarlac TESDA Provincial Office. About the assessment result, we observe strict confidentiality. Only authorized persons and the institutions where you have your training proper are allowed to see the results of the assessment. About this, the assessment package is kept and secured. This is to ensure its integrity. We are requesting that you candidates please refrain from giving any information regarding the assessment procedure to anyone. For those who will be evaluated as competent, the assurance of the NC will be after 5 working days. Just bring with you your competency assessment results summary, 1 piece passport size photo with a white background and color, and 50 for the processing fee. The validity of your national certificate is for 5 years from the date of the assurance. And for those who are evaluated is not yet competent, don't worry because you can still apply for the assessment and the procedure is the same as you have undergone for this assessment. Before we end this orientation, if you have questions, concerns, or clarifications about the assessment procedures, you may raise your hand because whenever the assessment starts, you are no longer allowed to ask questions. Any questions? I will now give you 1 hour to attend to your personal needs. There is a comfort room at the back, and if you want to eat, there is a canteen beside this room. However, during the assessment, you are no longer allowed to go out in this room. Please be back on time. Welcome back, candidates. We will now start with your assessment. I would just like to remind you about the do's and don'ts. From this moment onwards, you are no longer allowed to use your cell phone. Please observe silence in the assessment area. Cheating is strictly prohibited. Wear your PPEs and always observe safety. Well, now proceed to the demonstration. Here's a copy of this specification instructions. You have 10 minutes to read and understand. Time start now. Time's up. The demonstration is used to test the underpinning skills and knowledge of uses of this qualification. Come and follow me to the demonstration area. Before anything else, I would just like to remind you once again to always wear your PPE and observe safety as you conduct the performance for this assessment. Here are the different stations you have to bake a cake. I will give you 5 minutes to familiarize yourself with the area in this assessment room, the equipment and tools. This time start now. Time's up. You have 7 hours to perform all the tasks for each unit of competency. We are now on the last part of this assessment, which is the oral questioning. I'll be administering the oral questioning individually, so please candidate number 2, please proceed to the waiting area and wait for candidate number to be called as I administer the oral questioning to candidate number 1. Candidate number 1, please come in front. Candidate number 1, how do you feel about the assessment? With that said, congratulations! I found you competent with this assessment. You may claim your NC after 5 working days at the TESDA Provincial Office from 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. Just bring with your competency assessment results summary, 1 piece passport size picture with white background and color, and 50 pesos for the processing fee. For the confirmation of this assessment, kindly sign these cards and rating sheet. Your cards will be released with the assessment center manager. If you don't have any questions, you may now go to waiting area for the test representative because he will also evaluate this assessment program. And please, candidate number 2. Candidate number 2, how do you feel about the assessment? With that that said, candidate number 2, I have found you not yet competent with this assessment. You may still apply for reassessment and the process is the same. For applying on the reassessment, just bring with you your accomplished application form and self-assessment guide. Cards, 2 pieces of passport size, white background and color, and 500 pesos. You have to submit all your requirements in any test that are accredited center and wait for the announcement of next schedule for assessment. For the confirmation of the assessment, can we sign these cards and rating sheet? Your cards will be attested first by our AC manager, so you may claim it later. I will now give the assessment package to test the representative. My dear assessors, that ends my COC2 demonstration conducting competency assessment.